Hey, ladies and gents, and welcome to episode 13 of the Controlled Interest Gamecast, where we talk about video games and everything happening in the industry. As always, I'm joined by Jordan and Dominic. What's up, guys? How's it going?
Good, what's up?
It's going real good.
Real good. Got that burger pizza. Eating that burger pizza.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, so episode 13. Hopefully it's not too unlucky for us. We're going to be getting into what we've played. My topic is going to be about Doom later on in the episode. I finished Doom, played it from beginning to end. Loved the game. Other things I've been playing, I played a little bit more of Smite as always. I got access to Quantum Break. Haven't dove into it. I'm probably gonna be doing that this week. We'll talk about it next week. What else? I've been really playing too much except for Doom. Been playing Pokemon here and there as well. I played a little bit of Hearthstone too, just because I haven't been able to get Overwatch, and I'm having that Blizzard. I want a Blizzard game in my hands. Obviously Overwatch, but Hearthstone's free to play, so I've been playing that for a bit. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I haven't been doing too much except for Doom. What about you guys?
For me, I was playing Borderlands earlier today, still working on that platinum. Might get to that before I die, hopefully.
Borderlands 1 or 2?
The original on PS3.
Okay.
Right now I'm playing through the DLC to get my level up to 50, which would give me the platinum, so I'm on the Claptrap Robot Revolution DLC, which shout out to them for having a BioShock reference in there.
That's cool.
And then beat Quantum Break, but I'll probably just save that for discussing that for when you beat it, Jared.
Sounds good.
So I'd like to really talk about Hearts of Stone, the first DLC pack for The Witcher 3. Beat that this week. And my gosh, I am head over heels in love with that DLC pack. The story was incredible. It was about 10, maybe 15 hours long with all the side quests. Not a whole lot of new stuff. They added Rune Masters, which is cool. Couple of little other tiny additions here and there, but for a $10, I think it was 10, maybe $15 DLC pack, there's not much more you could ask for, especially if you're a fan of Witcher 3 like I am. So there's that. And then here in just a few days, on May 31st, we're going to have Witcher 3 Blood and Wine, so I am super excited for that. All up in that Witcher right now.
Is that a $20 DLC?
Yes, but if you pre-order it, I think it's only $18.
Okay. And do you have the season pass, or are you buying them individually?
Yeah, I pre-ordered the game along with the expansion pass because
okay, cool.
We talk about how awesome CD Projekt Red is. Instead of giving us some crappy pre-order bonus, they actually just gave everybody a discount that pre-ordered.
That's smart. I like that.
Yeah.
You, Dom?
So this week I finished up Dark Souls finally. It felt good to be, to have it completed. It's like an accomplishment kind of feeling.
You're in a healthier state, physically and mentally.
My blood pressure has lowered significantly.
Take a load off.
Yeah.
Right. Your wife's probably happy you're not angry every day.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the temper's down. Yeah, I love that game. It's not as good as Dark Souls 1, of course. I don't think anything will ever be able to recapture that magic of a person's first Souls game.
Yeah.
It's still really cool. It did a lot of the same stuff that I loved about Dark Souls 1. Couple disappointments, little minor complaints, but for another day, I guess. I also started Far Harbor. The Fallout 4 DLC. It's really cool so far. Very foggy. You basically travel to this island, and the town there, Far Harbor, is basically being pushed out farther and farther to the coast of the island by this fog and the monsters that are within it. I'm only a couple hours in. I've done a couple side quests, but the island is really kind of creepy and moody.
Oh, cool.
I really like it. It's a slightly different tone than the rest of Boston was in Fallout 4. It's a real nice change of pace. So, but once I get more into it, probably next week, I'll make that my topic and we'll go into it a little deeper. But yeah, so that's what I've been playing.
It seems like what they did with Far Harbor is what they kind of did in Oblivion with Shivering Isles. I don't know if you guys are either of you are familiar with that. But Elder Scrolls Oblivion had a DLC called Shivering Isles that took place in a separate location, obviously, and tonally it was a lot moodier than the rest of the game. So that's what it sounds like Far Harbor is with Fallout.
It's like rainy and foggy and dark and scary, and weird frog monsters jump at you from out of trees and all sorts of craziness.
Too spooky.
I love it when DLC takes, a game that you already know and love and kind of mixes it up and gives you new scenarios, new situations to be a part of. That was part of the reason I loved Jack the Ripper DLC so much for Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
Well, I think it's super important in games like Fallout 2, where one of the biggest gripes, but also one of the biggest things that people love about it is that it's more of Fallout 3. And, in order to have a DLC that people want, for some games, DLC is fine for it being more of the same game. But for a game like Fallout, you definitely want its own experience because you've played that game for so long. You want something different.
That was my biggest problem with Fallout 4 in general, is that it lacked so much of the choice, and just those RPG elements kind of got stripped down from Fallout 3. But otherwise, it was pretty much the same. But apparently, as you go along in Far Harbor, there's more of those choices that the main story kind of lacked.
That's awesome.
Is this the last piece of DLC for Fallout 4?
I don't think so.
No, this is one of the first major ones.
Yeah, I think there's several more still coming.
There were smaller ones, like the robot building one and another one. This is the first staple DLC.
I think originally this was planned to be the last one, but then they wanted to do some more, and that's why they ended up raising the price of the season pass.
Yeah.
So I think that's the case.
Fallout 3 had 3 or 4 major pieces of DLC, right? Major.
And they were all big, yeah.
Yeah. And then New Vegas had 3 as well.
5, I think. It had a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe 3.
Yeah, I think it was 3.
They were big, though.
Something blue, something else, and something road.
They were all really cool. Fallout DLC is always
Yeah, Bethesda really always does DLC really well. So I'm glad you guys are getting your money for your DLC. That's awesome. So going to get right into the news here. The first story, we have a couple of trailers that were announced. The first one is for Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands, which is a new entry in the Ghost Recon franchise, which everyone loves. The trailer's called, I think, We Are Ghosts. I just want to talk about our thoughts, just real quick. What you guys thought of the trailer? For me, there wasn't a whole lot to show. It was more of a cinematic experience. I doubt any of this is actual in-engine. Maybe it is. I don't know. But it gives off the tone of the game. It looks like it's going to be a multiplayer experience. Maybe it's single player and you can have friends in there if you want, but to me it looks like a multiplayer experience. It looks cool. I definitely want to see more of this game before I make a decision on whether or not I'm going to get it. But it's Ubisoft making a Ghost Recon game. So what about you guys?
It looked like a Ghost Recon Far Cry game almost.
Yeah, that's what Jordan was saying.
Yeah. Before you got on, Dom, I was talking about how I've been waiting for a third-person Far Cry just because I love third-person so much more than first-person. So this might be the game I've been looking for.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about the enemies, the cartel-looking guys?
I definitely think it's something we don't see enough of in video games. I like that obviously Wildlands. It's gritty and out in the open, kind of in the boondocks type of deal. And I like that. I'm excited to play that. Like you were saying, it's going to be different than The Division, where you're cooped up in this city with all these buildings surrounding you. It's going to be nice and wide open, and I like that.
It looks like a lot of extreme stuff too, which is really cool. I'm going to make I don't think it's a bold prediction. I almost guarantee there will be a Breaking Bad reference in this game.
What? Does this have a release date?
I don't think so. It just is fall, right? I think it's Q4 2016. Okay. It is this year, though, from what I remember. I could be wrong about that.
Because for me, looking forward the rest of the year, I'm kind of at the beginning of a lull here of games that I'm interested in that are coming out.
Yeah, I think that's why this is kind of cool though, because then it means we get more excited at E3. But yeah, I don't really have a lot that I'm looking forward to as far as AAA games like Below and Cuphead. I'm super excited for it, but big meaty games like Gears is cool and everything, but I don't necessarily think I'm excited for it. But we'll get into the second story here. It's a trailer on an article. This broke today, I believe, right, Jordan? I think it was today.
Yes.
Devolver Digital announces Absolver from ex-Ubisoft Paris developers. It includes people from the Watch Dogs team and the Ghost Recon series. Strangely enough, we're talking about Wildlands. It comes from Lucy O'Brien. I'm going to read this real quick, and then we'll discuss the trailer like we did before. Devolver Digital has teamed up with Paris-based developer Slowclap to bring you Absolver, an online combat RPG coming to PC and consoles. Absolver was the first game from Soulcop, an independent studio founded in 2015 by developers who worked together on together at Ubisoft on Watch Dogs and the Ghost Recon series. It puts players in the shoes of a prospect who joins an elite corps of combatants called Absolvers to maintain stability in the world. Players will wander through Absolver's world and pick up new combat styles, attacks, powers, and weaponry, while fighting other warriors in an intense real-time flow of attacks. To me, it looks like the Destiny Division type games mixed with the Rocksteady combat, if that makes sense. That's what it looks like to me. That's the impression I got. It's like this combat RPG MMO-esque game, but the combat to me feels very Rocksteady, like movement combo based. Moving one back and forth. It looks interesting though. It looks cool. I like the art style. I like the. I just want to see more of this game though to get a definitive idea. What about you guys?
It reminded me of For Honor.
Yeah.
The sword game.
Yeah, that kind of like that tactical, like hand-to-hand fighting kind of thing. But that game uses swords. But it looked, similar mechanic-wise, I guess. But it looked interesting. I don't know if that's the kind of game that I'm going to be interested in. But.
Gear chasers, I guess, is a good term for it, right? Gear chasers, like you're always chasing the best gear for the game. The Destiny Division-esque kind of games.
To me, I would say it looked more like a fighting game than like a Rocksteady combat situation.
You think it's going to be like combos?
Yeah, almost like a Street Fighter or something like that. Obviously, it's 3D and not 2D, but
I got a little of that vibe too.
Yeah.
See, that really disappoints me if that's the case, because I don't like fighting games where you have to combo and stuff. But then again, if it's in I've never played a game that's in a 3D space and is doing this, so I can't really judge it before we see what exactly is going down. But it looks cool. Props on the name. I think Absolver's a really cool name.
Yeah, and the aesthetic, just the art direction and everything, that they know what they're doing over there.
Yeah, and I mean, they have proven people, whether or not you like Watch Dogs, they've worked on also Ghost Recon, so they have a familiarity with multiplayer, and kind of big scope games. So
yeah.
I'm really interested to see what exactly this game is. Before we get into the couple of Xbox stories we have, you actually had some news on the Kickstarter we talked about a couple of weeks ago, right, Jordan?
Yeah, so if you don't remember, it was called Lyn and the Spirits of Now, and it's a 2D platformer that was heavily influenced by Studio Ghibli films and Hayao Miyazaki, who is the guy who's directed most of their films. And, I was really excited about this. I really liked the trailer that they showed. I liked the style of the game and what the gameplay was looking like. And I was getting pretty excited. And like I said, I thought it was going to be the first Kickstarter that I would end up backing. And then this actually happened last week, right around the time we were recording the podcast, but I didn't catch it. So basically what happened is all this stuff started coming out about how the developer's name is Bloomy Light Studio. They're a French developer. And all this stuff was coming out about how they had some interns working on the game that never ended up getting paid. And apparently, since they're in France, there's laws there that say if you're part of an internship for more than 2 months, then you're required to get paid. So obviously that's, people not getting compensated is not good, and that's definitely something we don't want to encourage in the industry, but it's still sad either way. They said that they had been working on the game since 2011, so that's 5 years of this game, and of course with all this stuff coming out, they ended up canceling the Kickstarter, and now the game itself is canceled, so it's just not coming out. And it looked pretty, not finished, but it definitely looked pretty far along, especially since it's been going on for 5 years. So definitely a somber note, and sad to see it go, but there's a big conversation going on in the industry right now about how developers are a lot of times overworked and underpaid, and they don't have proper working conditions, and they aren't treated the way they should be. So if anything, this is a step in the right direction to better compensating developers and keeping them happy and healthy on the job. But at the same time, I'm sad to see this go, just because it really looked right up my alley, and I was I was really excited to support it.
I think this is why you can't cut corners, and like you're gonna eventually get caught, and they cut a corner and they got caught, and like I don't know, I just think that they made a mistake, and now not only is the company probably getting shut down or having some kind of mandate, like now people who are excited for this game don't get to see it. So
yeah,
I bet it was more of a mistake than some intentionally.
Something got lost in bookkeeping or something.
They probably weren't totally aware that there was a length of time sort of thing.
Actually, that part is actually pretty interesting. If anybody listening wants to know more about this, there's actually a pretty long Reddit post that has tons and tons of links and tons of information that I didn't disclose here. So if you want to know more, you can head over to Reddit. But in that post, they were talking about how allegedly the head of the studio had some of those interns sign contracts saying that they had been paid when they really hadn't.
Oh, well. So
okay.
So they knew exactly what they were doing.
That's a problem then, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so some messed up stuff over there. I'm sad to see that game get trashed.
Yeah, it sucks, Jordan. I'm sad to hear that a game you were excited for is no longer, but I'm glad that dude, or whoever it was, female guy, it happens, and you can't just treat people like that and expect nothing to happen,
It's going to come back around, yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
One word.
Like I said, it's a step in the right direction for the industry, which, this game is a casualty, but I'm glad to see developers being more outspoken, and hopefully they'll be properly compensated in the future.
Yeah, exactly. This gets the conversation rolling in the right direction.
Right.
So, going off of a somber note, we have some exciting news, at least for Xbox owners. So we got some news here by Keza McDonald over at Kotaku, and the story reads, smaller Xbox One coming this year, more powerful Xbox One in 2017. Microsoft is preparing at least 2 new Xbox models for release in the next 2 years. Sources tell Kotaku later this year we'll see a cheaper, smaller Xbox One, and next year Microsoft will release a more powerful version of their premier console. The 2017 Xbox, which is codenamed Scorpio, will have a more powerful GPU, according to 3 people familiar with this model. Speaking anonymously, because they were not authorized to speak about Microsoft plans, we heard that it will also be technically capable of supporting the Oculus Rift, which goes to a story we have next, and that Microsoft is pursuing a partnership with Oculus. As for 2016, sources have told us there's at least a more compact version coming this year. One source believed it will include a larger 2 terabyte hard drive, double the capacity of the most spacious current model. We're expecting Microsoft to announce the more compact machine at E3 this year. There is an update on this article. I just want to get down to the update. In an article this afternoon, this was updated 4:41, the day of us recording this. Polygon corroborated many of the details we reported as well as the one we didn't. Microsoft is aiming to get Scorpio running at 6 teraflops, which we've also heard from one source. Sources have insisted that Scorpio's exact specs have not yet been finalized, though. So, I honestly like this approach more than what PlayStation's doing. Obviously, I own an Xbox. I'm not trying to be biased, but I think this is a smarter way of people expect when a console's released, the next reiterated version is a smaller console, right? I think it's smarter to release a smaller version of a console, especially with more storage space, and then maybe release a more powerful one, right?
Yeah. I
just think that game plan's better, and obviously we don't know what's better because neither of them have released. But yeah, if this is the case, and the Xbox One, we'll call it Scorpio, because that's what the project name's called. If Scorpio is coming out next year and it's 6 teraflops, isn't that twice the power of Neo?
Yeah, that's huge.
They're saying it's 4 times the power of the Xbox One currently.
Yeah, which is insane. You're telling me that Xbox is going to release a smaller console this year that has 2 terabytes of hard drive space on it. It's probably going to look different because people hate the way the normal Xbox One looks.
Yeah.
And then next year they're going to release something that's more powerful than the Neo. I think
this 6 teraflop machine is going to cost at least $600 too. You know what I mean? Positive.
I don't know. They might be willing to take a loss on this.
But see, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because I think as soon as I started hearing all these Neo rumors, the PS4K stuff, I'm like, Sony's screwing it up because they're talking about, some of the sources were saying that they were going back and forth between how much they wanted to upgrade the console, whether they wanted to go with a $399 price point or a $499 price point, and how, they're trying to figure out like how powerful they want to make it. And I'm like, how is that even a question? Go with the $499 price point. Like, make it as powerful as you can.
If you're going to release a new console
halfway through a generation, why would you do a half step? Why would you only make it barely powerful enough to run these 4K games and maybe not even at 60 frames? Like, if you're going to do this thing halfway through a generation, I think you go all out. And so think about this. If, everybody talks about how the PS4 is more powerful than the Xbox One. Well, what if that roles reversed next year? I mean, that could be huge for Microsoft.
From the reports that's going to be the case.
Yeah, I think that's the totally the right direction to go, because if you're going to, it's go big or go home, basically. If you're going to do it, you got to do it right.
So the piece we glossed over was the Oculus stuff. That's the biggest piece of this to me, because if Microsoft gets into bed with Oculus, which is owned by Facebook, that's a whole a whole Pandora's box of opportunities of things that could, Facebook integration through your Xbox and VR. Like, I don't even know what that would look like, but there's
even
so
just
much
the
that could be
backing. Like,
done.
Facebook has money, Microsoft has money,
Facebook has a network, the biggest network in the world. Like,
I gotta say, it's not hugely surprising for me though, because in a way they're already in bed with Oculus. They, when Oculus started announcing their the bundle that they were going to have, every Oculus comes with an Xbox One controller. So obviously that doesn't automatically mean that they're like in bed and that they're going to be on Xbox or anything like that, but it starts the conversation.
From my understanding, Xbox One games could technically work on an Oculus already, but only in a cinematic mode type
Theater
of thing,
mode, yeah.
Not actually VR. But if this turns out to be like everything that's on Oculus is playable without a PC, if you have an Xbox, then that's huge. That's
oh yeah.
Well, and the same thing here too is there was actually a recent report that Microsoft came out and stated that every exclusive from this point on is also going to be playable on Windows 10,
which basically confirmed that I'm never buying an Xbox now.
Well, yeah, but the thing is that this makes sense in the sense of like the new powerful console, like it's going to be so powerful that you can kind of get a little bit more even with PC. Obviously, it'll never be even. PC's always ahead, but like it makes sense that they're going to try to do that because it makes porting and stuff a lot easier. Also, I think the big thing here is the fact that they're releasing a slim model before they release the big boy. Like,
which is odd to me. That part is a little.
I think it's smart though, because the rumored reports are 2017, early or late. Like it's just 2017 for the Scorpio. Like, if this slim model comes out this fall and then the big boy doesn't come out till next year, that means that they have a whole year in between, right? I'm just calling it the big boy. It's the easiest way to describe it.
That's the code name from now on.
The big boy.
If Neo is slated to come out this fall and Scorpio won't be till next year, anyone who wants to jump on the more powerful console bandwagon is going to grab the Neo probably now, and there's not going to be.
I don't know, man.
Not if they hear that the new Xbox is going to be twice as powerful and
exactly
will have Oculus Rift support.
And anybody that even knows what the hell a PS4 Neo is going to know that.
That's
like
true.
They're going to be a real gamer that's involved, and they know that the Xbox is coming
this
next
puts
year.
PlayStation in a weird spot, because if they send out the Neo and then the Xbox ends up being this much more powerful, then they're stuck in this position of, well, wait, if we're not going to have a next console generation, when do we release our next one that's more powerful?
Yeah.
And this might step into a thing of like they're always trying to one-up each other, where like there's a new console coming out every 3 years of them trying to be more powerful than the last one. And the biggest loser of this is NX. Once again. So
the other thing with Sony is the fact that, like I said, they're kind of taking a half step by just barely upgrading the console and not really blowing off the doors. It's going to hurt their sales because, when a consumer walks in and it's like, okay, I could get this for $350 or this for $399, like the regular mainstream consumer isn't going to know that the PS4K is that much better. And so they might just want to save that $50, So I think that I think they should make it like, okay, here's your base model PS4 and here's the luxury PS4. Like, make a gap so that people know that there's a difference, as opposed to, oh, is it just like a bigger hard drive or something,
Do we think maybe this could be a whole new generation Xbox?
Maybe. It could be. I don't know.
Why not, right?
Xbox Big Boy coming 2017.
I have a question for you, Dom. You're a little bit more into the tech stuff. So, from what I've read, it seems like the big boy Xbox will be able to run VR pretty well, right?
Yeah.
How much more substantial will it be able to run VR than the Neo? Is it a huge thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good, I don't know the exact numbers, but it sounds like a good jump.
Like on a scale of 1 to 10, how good is Neo gonna run VR? Like 10 being optimal, perfect, 0 being turd.
I mean, I mean, the Neo is about equal to what Oculus requires in a GPU for VR. So the Neo, from what I've read, is supposed to be around a GTX 970, which is the minimum required GPU.
So bottom line.
Right. Well,
no, I'm saying like barely meeting the threshold to play VR.
yeah, but when they say minimum, that's everything in like PC gaming. Like when they say, minimum required
It's not
specs
bad
for this
though. I know
game,
it's not like terrible. I understand what you're saying.
it's to have like the designed experience you want.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
Right. Everything
Not
else
bare
will still
minimum,
work.
but minimum for an enjoyable experience.
Right. You might have to
Okay.
cut back a few things, but everything else still works. So
I got you. Okay.
the Neo will run VR like comparably with what it would look like on PC on an Oculus, and that's why I'm so sure that that's the reason they made this.
Okay.
To match that. But like you asked, yeah, this new Xbox would blow that out of the park.
Yeah.
Really.
That's so insane to me. I think it puts Sony in a bad spot, but you do make a very good argument of, and I understand where Jordan's coming to, like only the hardcore gamers know the Neo right now, but like it does beg the question of like, if you're willing to upgrade, are you going to upgrade now?
Right.
And
the
with
timing
the
is a factor.
Yeah, but also, I mean, here's the thing too: is like if you're ingrained in this culture and you know that Big Boy's coming out next year, and the Slim comes out this year, and you can pay half because they said this is going to be cheaper than the current Xbox One. The Slim is going to be cheaper, or at least the same price as the current Xbox One, which makes sense. But like, if you're going to be switching over and you hear the Big Boy's coming out, you can pay cheaper to get the Xbox and start migrating over and getting that experience and getting your game library built. So maybe if you do want to upgrade in the future, I don't know. It's going to be a weird thing. We can make all the speculations we want, but there's never been anything like this in consoles. So
the industry is like on the verge of huge change.
Yeah.
And as console gamers, no one here likes that because it's 8-year cycles and we're all comfortable and everything's nice and easy. But I have a strong feeling that the whole industry is going to get flipped on its head right now, and things are going to be much different going forward.
Yeah, definitely. This could be a cool topic for. I mean, E3 is right around the corner. This is just exciting to see how exactly this all plays out. But so going off of, we're running long on the news here. Going off of the whole VR thing with Xbox One, this comes by way of Eddie over at GameSpot. A major developer from Europe is releasing a VR game on Xbox One next year. Following reports this week that Microsoft might be working on a new, more powerful and VR-ready Xbox One launch in 2017, another story has come online to seemingly back that up. Ars Technica reports that a major developer is working on a VR game to launch on Xbox One in 2017. This game will be shown at E3, the report said, though it wasn't mentioned if it would be revealed publicly or behind closed doors. So that's your big asterisk right there. If we're going to see it or if people behind doors are going to see it. It also wasn't explicitly stated that this game was in development for the rumored new Xbox One or if it would be playable on the existing model, which I assume is on the new one. I don't know how it would work on the existing model. Which currently doesn't offer VR support. However, the suggestion is that it would be for the new one. The name of the developer and game behind the game is held back for now. But Ars Technica says the company is a well-known European studio, and the game is set in the universe of an established, long-running franchise. That leaves open lots of possibilities. Real quick, before we get your guys' opinions on this, I think this might be something in the Fable series. Maybe, Lionhead obviously got closed and stuff, but Microsoft still owns IP. So this could be something in Fable. When they say like established and long running, that doesn't necessarily mean hugely popular, So it could be something in the Fable kind of realm, and Fable is that franchise they take risks with. So it could possibly be Fable. That's my guess. But this is obviously goes along with what we heard about VR. So what do you guys think? Who do you guys think who's making this game, or what the game is, and what are your guys' thoughts on this? Period.
Me, I think you gotta obviously this connects to what we were just talking about, but if there was a situation where Microsoft comes out with Xbox Big Boy or whatever it's called, and it's not VR capable, they're really screwing up, because we know for a fact that PS4 Neo is going to be VR capable because PS4 is VR capable. So yeah, I do think it's a big point that they go ahead and make the big boy VR ready. As far as who this could possibly be, I'm not really sure. I'm trying to rack my brain for all the well-known European studios that could be doing this. Does it say specifically in the story that it's exclusive?
No, it says well-known publisher, European. Doesn't say anything about exclusive.
Okay.
It's a European publisher, though?
Yeah, European
developer.
I was going to say
as far as the rumor
Minecraft.
goes. And yeah, so but it doesn't say exclusive, which is a very valid point. But they might not say exclusive because it might be on Oculus, which means that it also is on PC. So yeah, I don't know. Obviously this isn't surprising. If they're gonna have a console that can run VR, they're gonna have launch titles, right? The big boy, we could also call it the Xbox Rift, I guess. But I don't know who this could be. My guess is Fable, just because the whole thing with Fable Legends, obviously, and it seems like they could have somebody in the works of making something happen. A cool thing with VR would be like Black and White. I don't know who owns the rights to that though. The Black and White series where you play God essentially. Is that what I'm talking about? No clue. No clue at all.
No.
Okay.
Pokemon Black and White?
Huh?
Pokemon Black and White?
No. There's a game called Black and White where you basically play as a god and you control a world. And it would make sense because you can use your hands in VR to control this world and do stuff with it. It's just a guess.
I've got one for you. What about People Can Fly?
People Can Fly?
People Can Fly is a European studio. They did Bulletstorm, which was an Xbox exclusive. And they're heavily connected to Epic Games. I think People Can Fly, a lot of them are like former Epic game developers. And then after they did Bulletstorm, Microsoft acquired them, or Epic acquired them, I guess, and they became Epic Games Poland. But now they've actually reverted back to independence, and their People Can Fly again. So Bulletstorm, I think, was their last game, and that's an Xbox 360 game. And obviously they have a pedigree for making Microsoft exclusives, and they're not super well known, but due to the fact that they're connected to Epic, they are known, like people know who they are.
Yeah.
And they could be doing Gears,
That'd be interesting.
which is a well-known franchise.
Yeah, I think this is totally up in the air. I think this is probably true that there is a studio working on a VR game that makes sense, but it's up in the air of who can be. Honestly, we're just throwing darts at a wall and seeing what lands. But that's it for all the Xbox news. The last story here, real quick. We're running really long on news, so maybe we can just transition this into Jordan's topic. Basically, simple story. I won't get too much into it. Over on IGN, who wrote this? Joe Screbbles over IGN wrote, Zelda Wii U E3 demos could take 90 minutes to complete. Press are being told to set aside up to an hour and a half to complete the E3 hands-on of The Legend of Zelda Wii U. The new open-world Zelda game, which will also be released on the NX, will be Nintendo's only game on the E3 show floor. Yada, yada, yada. We've talked about that before. It's not just press who will be playing. 500 fans in New York will be able to play before E3. Although it's not clear if it'll be the same demos. So real quick thoughts. We're running a little long on news, guys. What's your opinion on this hour and a half Zelda demo? I mean, it makes sense if it's their only game there, right? They have to have something substantial.
Well, I'm guessing it's going to be downloadable on everyone's Wii U's, right?
Oh, God.
So, I mean, Zelda doesn't come out till 2017, but here's a demo.
An hour and a half demo.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's an interesting thought. I think it's kind of can you think of another company that would have the balls to tell press to come and set aside an hour and a half to look at their game? That's so Nintendo right there, man. They're just like, yeah, it's going to be so great. You're going to need a whole hour and a half. You don't need to complete the whole demo. You could spend 20 minutes on it and figure out what's going on. So, what's up, everybody? Thanks for checking out the Controlled Interest Gamecast. If you want to stay up to date, remember to subscribe on YouTube and iTunes, and give us a follow on SoundCloud and on Twitter at CTRLINT. #SmashTheDunst.